Hello, my name is Christy Godwin, and I'm a psychic medium. I'm here today with Cory, and she recently had a reading, and thank you so much for being here today. I asked her if she would mind coming on and telling us a little bit about her experience. I know people are always interested in what a reading entails and just what happens. So thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, thanks for having me.
And I know her little one is running around, so we might hear some noises.
I have to hide in my room.
Oh, I like to hear little one's noises. Now, we had known each other through your sister, but we had never hung out and was like, we're what we call it, like Facebook friends. We saw each other for a while, but we didn't hang out and talk. So I didn't know a lot about Cory, which makes it a lot easier to do a reading when you don't know much about the person, because then the information coming through is authentic. Now, what made you book the reading?
Really just pure interest. You had posted something about experience with angels, and I had quite a few visitation dreams from loved ones that have passed, and it was always the same scenario. So somehow I was able to differentiate just a dream and my subconscious versus a visitation, and then you had commented on my comment, and then it just really got me going. So yes. I booked an appointment, and it was amazing.
I do remember that now. And you know, the past loved ones visit us a lot in dreams, and it does take a lot of energy for them to visit us. So good for you for recognizing that and being, it was your grandmother, right, that was visiting you?
Yes, I had a few maybe 3 from my grandmother, one from a dear family friend who had passed away, and then 2 from my husband's grandfather that had passed away about 5 years ago. And we've been together for a long time, so he was just another grandfather to me.
Yes.
But yes, those were my 3 main visitation dreams.
And that does happen a lot. I know me and my husband have been together for a long time. So when I have readings, you know, mediums have readings also. We'll practice with other mediums. My husband's family will come through to me just like they're mine. And that we'll get into, but that did happen some even during your reading when you had other people in your house. Now, had you had a reading before?
Not a one-on-one reading, no. I had been to a large group thing, but I was never personally read. So I've experienced other people having it done, but personally, no, I have not.
Those are fun, actually. And I do that. They're called, you know, I'll do platform readings, and they're kind of fun. There's always a joke in the metaphysical world that platform reading is easy because there's so many people there, you never run out of spirits to bring forward.
I can only imagine what's happening in your head.
Yes. It's like and you know, you can almost feel them elbowing to get to the front because they want, you know, the strongest one wants to be brought through.
Right.
Now, what surprised you most about the reading?
Really how accurate it was, and how easy it was to recognize. I don't want to say all, but easy to recognize who it was that was coming to you. I mean, I have seen some where it almost feels like there's like fishing involved, and like, okay, well, I see a dog, and I'm like, well, that's pretty common. There wasn't any of that. It was very specific, and it was easy to recognize who it was that you were talking about, even though the detail was very minimal in the beginning.
And that is something that I will not bring. And as you notice it, because one of your friends or one of your mom's friends that was trying to come through and kept bringing forth information, and you couldn't recognize her. And I would not pass on any information that she had until you recognized her. And so that's one thing Spirit does. They start with details that they think you will recognize. You don't recognize it. I say, you got to give me more. You got to give me more. And this lady from the other side was very funny because she did keep giving me more. And I don't remember what it was she said that really clicked. But whenever I gave her the okay, I was like, okay, you know, I named her off and I said, okay, come on, we'll take your message now. She was like, yes.
Which is exactly what she would do. She was so funny.
She was just so excited that you recognized her. And all spirits are like that. They will just keep giving little information until finally I say, okay, we know who you are. You can step forward. And so that's what I will not do is pass along messages unless you can identify who the person is.
Yes.
So now what surprised you the most about the reading?
In general, or in regards to maybe who came forward?
Who came forward? Sorry, yes. Who surprised you most about coming forward?
Probably my father's parents. The last time I want to say they had seen me, I was not even 2 years old yet. So they were never a part of my life, and that they came forward.
And what was not, well, it was nice that you had someone else in your house who could identify them, because I was giving you detail and you're like, well, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. And you went to check with the other person in your house that the details were accurate.
Yes.
But then also they came forward a lot. Well, they had messages for you, but they also had messages for the other person that was in your
Which I wonder if that didn't help. I wonder if they were coming forward to really, in hopes that they could relay the messages to my mom, who was the one that was able to recognize them.
Yes.
More so than it was for me. I wonder, had she not been in my home, would they have still came forward? I mean, I'm very glad that they did.
I'm sorry, because as you're talking, and what happens is once you've brought forth a spirit, it's much easier to recognize them and to tune into them. But if you haven't ever brought them forward, first you have to identify them. So it's a little bit, it takes a little bit longer process. But once you've identified them, like your grandparents just popped up like that when you started talking about them. And so that's the reason I looked to my left, because it came in on my left. And it's your grandmother who actually stepped forward. And she said that she would have come forward anyway. It would have just made it a lot more difficult to identify her.
Oh, okay.
She did know that. She did know that. She was thankful that your mom was there for the message, because she did have a pretty heartfelt message for your mom.
Yes. Yes, she did.
Able to identify her. And then towards the end of the reading, all of a sudden, and it made sense later, I'm talking to you and I can see other spirits coming from the back. I'm like, we have a whole new crowd coming up. And then I see your husband in the background. And so some of his people started stepping forward.
Yes.
So that's always interesting when you have a reading, there's other people around. I've had that before where I will be reading someone and they will have someone in the room. Spirits always take the opportunity to come forward. They want to get those messages over so badly. They want people to believe them and to be able to communicate with them. And so your husband, he was a very good sport.
Yes.
People
yes, he and he won't admit it, but he loves this. He loves to hear about it. He thinks it's interesting, but he tries to, be cool.
Oh, of course. My husband is much the same way. He's gotten better about it because he has seen me be accurate so many times now because he's around me just so much. Yeah. About the readings later. And he's, had me bring through his dad and different people that we've known. So, but he's still, he calls it my juju stuff. In a letter. So now towards the end of the reading, I asked you if there was someone who you wanted to talk to that had not come forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I had just had you give me the name. Now, were you surprised I was able to bring them forward?
I was. I thought maybe they just weren't there because I thought that he would have just came through. It was Chris's grandfather, the one that I had the few dreams about. Where he came and visited. So I was almost more surprised that he hadn't came through. But then after you had mentioned that he wasn't the kind of person to just show up without being invited. So once we said that, it was almost like it was his permission and his invite to come join us. Because he had a lot to say.
He did have a lot to say. He did. And that is something that surprises me, is that we carry so much of our personality to the other side. And so when spirit presents, they present exactly the way they were on this side, so you can identify them. And then of course on the other side, they have fine-tuned their personality a little bit and work through some issues. But they present and still have a lot of the personality. Now, he was kind of a quiet guy. Not someone who would just bust into a party. Now, the other grandfather, he was the first one. Like the second, I didn't realize Chris had gotten home. But as I was talking to you and bringing forth, I can't remember who we were talking to at that point, I could see this gentleman just striding into my sight line. I was like, okay, well, we want to be heard, don't we? And that was other grandfather who you said was very much personality.
Oh, yeah. Cut everybody in line and I'm here. Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what he did. Because whenever I have that many spirits, I line them up and just so I can keep them straight. And he came in straight through the ones that I had lined up. I was like, well, hello. You're to communicate with.
Right.
And then we had someone, I'm going to have to identify them because I don't know if the person they're attached to wants them identified. But someone with a motorcycle kept trying to pop through. And poor Cory, she could not identify them. And I was like, I don't know. There's someone here with a motorcycle. And we're like, I don't know. And then later that night, that person was still following me around. I was like, I don't know who you are. You know, I just finished my meeting with Cory. She can't identify you. I don't know who you are. But every time I asked him who he was, he would show me your picture. And so you poor thing, I was texting you the next day. Because he came up again, you know, he left. And then the next morning I was doing my makeup and I was telling Cory that spirit seems to pop in, probably because I'm starting my day doing my makeup, kind of getting in that meditative state. And he popped in again and I messaged you and then you were able to identify him, weren't you?
Somehow.
Now, as I was describing him to you, he was able to give me, you didn't know much about this person because he wasn't really attached to you specifically. And he was letting me know.
Correct.
Like he was showing me, and he was showing me that he was several people out from you. But he was able to give me enough identifying factors that you were able to identify him. But now, you said something funny when you said that his name just dropped into your head.
Yes, out of nowhere. And this is not somebody that, I mean, I have heard about, but not frequently, not somebody I had ever actually met. And the person that we are connected by, he has no actual physical memory of this man either. And for whatever reason, as soon as you messaged me that morning, as soon as you had messaged me that morning, he was the first person that popped into my mind. And this is not a frequent thought that I have. I don't think about this person. I don't know this person. And I could not get out of my head that that's who this was.
Hi, sweetie.
What?
He's probably like, why is there a tiny person in your phone? That's very odd. That is something I wanted to address because Spirit will frequently do that. As someone's trying to bring someone forward, they will pop their name into your head. Or if they're trying to give you a sign, like you see, every time you see a bird or something flying, this uncle or aunt or someone pops into your head. Take it as a sign from them. They are the one popping their name in your head.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. Do you have any last words to share with people watching this?
If there's somebody that wants to do this and they have any reservation or any hesitation or fear, don't be afraid. It is an amazing experience. I know I went into it. I didn't have an agenda. I didn't have specific questions. I did not need closure. But had I, whatever I would have needed or wanted to get out of it, I would have. So, if you're even somewhat interested, it's worth it. It is 100% worth it.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts today and for being here.
Yes, thank you.
If anyone would like to contact me, please email me at christygodwin111@gmail.com. Thank you.